Do you and can you save money by living out of a car? The answer to that is the same as do you or can you save money living in an apartment? Can you save money living in a house? Can you save money living in a tiny home? The answer to those questions all come down to yes, only if your income is greater than your expenses. You see, it doesn't matter if you live in a car, a big house, a small house, or anything in between. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters with regards to saving money is if your income is higher than your expenses. There's no way around that. You can certainly live in your car and not save a dime. You can certainly live in a tiny home and not save a dime. The only way to save is to have income greater than your expenses. And you have to understand what you take home every month and what you outgo with expenses every month. Many people never get that. Or many people, the other downside of if you live in a tiny home or a downsized life or car, the other issue, if you are able to save money because your income is greater than your expenses, you have to be mindful that hoarding cash can sometimes harm the saver because it could be put in risky investments or it could be spent recklessly sometimes when we have a lot of something, we treat it arrogantly. We spend it frivolously. We think there's always going to be a lot because, it's coming in great now. You can certainly live in your car and not save a dime. You can certainly live in a tiny home and not save a dime. You're going to, and look, I want to be clear. Look, if you do live in a car, if you do live in a house or condo or whatever, and you don't save money, it's not to shame you because look, at any time, any of us could do the wrong thing with our money or, things can go sour. So I don't want to sit here arrogantly and say that it couldn't happen to any of us. But what I am sitting here saying is the question with regards to can you save money has nothing to do with if you live in a car or apartment or a house. The question is your income greater than your expenses? And are you being mindful that if you have some type of income and it's greater than your expenses, are you being mindful to put some away in a fixed saving where you're not gambling with it, where you're not spending it recklessly, where you're not eating out too much, where you're not doing certain things? Now, certainly life is about taking a little risk. Certainly life is about enjoying the fruits of your labor, meaning that if you work, you should, enjoy going out once in a while, whether it's travel, whether it's going out to eat, or whether it's, whatever you want to do with your money that you earn. But I want to be clear about that. It's never going to be as, you live in a car, you can save money, or, you live in a tiny house, you can save money. The only thing you could possibly do by living in a car or tiny home or RV, the only thing you're kind of doing is cutting your expenses. But no matter how low you cut your expenses, even if you were able to cut your expenses to zero, which will never be zero because you're always going to need car insurance, you're always going to have to feed yourself, you're always going to need gas, you're always going to need money to do something. So you're never going to get your expenses to zero. But let's say you get your expenses as low as possible. You always need some type of income, something you can rely on, something that's somewhat stable. Even if you have some things that are maybe a little risky, you have to have some type of stability. And so many people, I see that they don't realize that, or it just doesn't click. And they think if they get a small little cute RV or a small little tiny home, or they live in their car, that automatically financial cure has been put into place. But that's not the case. The financial cure for your life always begins with you have to understand what you need financially, income-wise, to at least meet your expenses. You need to know a somewhat specific number. Do you need $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month to not only pay all your bills, but to have an extra $500,000 plus in savings? And you need to know that number or be damn close. Because for years I was just shooting from the hip. I think I need about 4,000 a month. I think, you have to know somewhat specifically, somewhat. And in my opinion, in my experience, I think to live a decent life, you need at least 2,000 to 3,000 take home. You need at least $2,000 to $3,000 take home money if you had minimal expenses. Because what most people don't account for is a lot of things. I mean, I wanted to say healthcare, because a lot of times, like, people live this lifestyle. They're either living off investments, they're living off some type of subsidy, they're living off some type of whether it's a disability, whether it's Social Security. All those things still require some type of healthcare. You're on Social Security, you're going to need a supplemental healthcare program. Okay, you're living off YouTube, you're living off something. You need to buy healthcare. Okay, and that's going to cost about $500, $600 per month on average. Okay, without any subsidy. So, and then you got to feed yourself, and then you got gas, and before you know it, you're right close to $2,000. Cell phone bill, all those things add up. Car insurances, and you have to have some for savings, not just barely making all your expenses. Can you save money living in a car? Yes, only if your income, you have to have some income, you have to work, you have to have some type of structured income, is greater than your expenses. If you're just living off savings, that's fine. I'm not against it. We have to understand those savings are coming down. You have no income. So eventually you're depleting your net worth and you're not putting anything back into it. So eventually, you're bringing your economic scale down. Be mindful of that. And that's just the bottom line answer. I mean, it's nothing sexy or cute. But that's the point of this video, is that no matter where you choose to live or how you choose to live, and you should choose to live in a way that makes you inspired, that frees you. I mean, I think living in a car, living in an RV, or living in a tiny home, for me, it's car living at this point in my life. I think all those things free you. I think, again, no matter what you do, just live below your means. But that's what living below your means means. It means that your income is greater than your expenses. Your living circumstance with regards to how you do it, it doesn't matter. And that's because, it all goes determined based on you have greater income than your expenses. And the difference between your income and your expenses is how much you can save. Okay? You make $4,000 a month take home, and you spend $2,000 a month, you're saving, you have the potential to save $2,000 a month. You may blow some of that $2,000, you may invest some of that $2,000, you may just put it in the savings. You should always try to have a year's worth of savings. I think the average person is going to need between $10,000 to $20,000 in savings. Not easy to get there. But those are my thoughts on, can you save money living in a car? And that's how I view life. And that's what I've learned in life through my own failures and through my own journey. And it isn't easy when you hit a rut and you don't have income. But you have to pick yourself up, and you have to go out there and apply yourself and show up and show up and show up. It's the only way to crawl out of a hole. And the grace of God be with you. All right?